Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Friends, today we hope to discuss the Therigatha, or the poems of the elders. First, I want to introduce to you who these Theris were. They are the enlightened women who lived during the Buddha's lifetime. At the moment of awakening, they are so inspired, and their grasp of reality make them utter in verse the great joy they felt. Their liberation was not uniform, and the different ways they adopted and the circumstances which they faced are vividly, honestly, and clearly given. Today, 2,600 years later, the poems as well as their authors are so alive. And present, as if they are appearing in front of us. The message they give can appeal to us and change our attitude to life. Free us from our usual way of thinking, the dread and fear of living, and the problems we face shrink away, leaving our minds clear, fresh, joyful, carefree, and courageous. Basic Indian religious ideas like rebirth, karma, are also found in these poems. But the joy of not being reborn again, so that the actual experience that they celebrate is Nibbana in their poems. Let me see whether this will work. Let us turn to the poems themselves. Ideas like the Four Noble Truths, non-self, aggregates, dependent origination, or cause and effect are referred to, though they are household experiences that were both emotional and practical, helped in their understanding of the Dhamma. Here are some examples from the poems. Seeing oneself in an impersonal way, Sakula, one of the Theris, says, I saw my experiences as if they were not my own, born from a cause, destined to disappear. I got rid of all that fouls the heart, so I am cool, free. Now that was Sakula, one of the Theris. Now here is another Theri, Subha, says, a maiden I, all clad in white, once heard the norm and hearkened eager earnestly. So in me arose discernment of the truths. We bring about our own ruin and suffering by our actions, because we build and experience the causal factors according to our desires and dislikes. These things come from within due to our own ignorance, anger, and craving. The following verses spoken by the Buddha to Tissa, that is another theory, show the necessity of uprooting these dark features from our mental formations. Tissa, now this is what the Buddha said. Tissa, train yourself strictly. Don't let what can hold you back overwhelm you. When you are free from everything that hold you back, you can live in the world without the depravities that ooze out from within. The things that hold us back or overwhelm us come from our own thoughts and emotions due to greed, conceit, anger, and delusion. We do not guard our sense faculties, nor do we have moderation in food. We do and say whatever comes to our mind, which is not a skillful way of dealing with people. If we practice mindfulness, we would not have regrets or offend anyone, and also not create bad karma. That's why the Buddha tells Tissa, train yourself strictly. So that means even, lay people, not only monastics, when they train, they should train strictly. Even when grieving over a lost child or a failed marriage, the Theris do not see themselves as victims. Instead, they turn their tragedies towards spirituality and liberation. For example, Vasetti was so tormented by the loss of her son, and these are her words. With mind deranged, out of my senses, naked, with disheveled hair, wandered here and there, dwelt on rubbish heaps, in the streets, in a cemetery, hungry and thirsty. Then I saw the wayfarer, that's the Buddha. Regaining my mind, I paid homage to him and sat down. In pity, Gautama taught me the Dhamma. I went into homelessness. Applying myself to the teacher's words, I realized the blissful state. So she too became an Arahant. The two stories of Kitha Gautami and Patachara seem to be mixed up in the Therigatha. But we see how the universality of death is overcome through the practice of the Dhamma. Kitha Gautami lost her only child, but Patachara lost two children, husband, parents, and brother. Here is how Patachara recalls the words of the Buddha. So when she met the Buddha, this is what the Buddha said. Unasked he came from there. That is referring to the children. With permission, he went from here. Coming from where? Having stayed a few days, he goes yet to another from there. Dying in the human form, he will go wandering on. As he came, so he has gone. So, what is there to lament? Today, with arrow in my heart removed, entirely unbound, to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, I go for refuge. Kisa Gautami says, the state of having noble friends is praised by the sage. With reference to the world, if one resorted to noble friends, even a fool would be wise. And she continues, I have not taken all the whole poem. This is another part of the poem. One should know pain, and the uprising of pain, and its cessation, the eightfold way, even the Four Noble Truths. So these are the things that they have practiced and understood and then gained liberation. The woes of womanhood, that is called dukkho itti bhavo in Pali, are highlighted in Kisa Gautami's Gathas. Now these are the things that are highlighted. Being a co-wife, that is not one wife, there were many wives. Sharing a home with hostile wives. Giving birth in bitter pain. Some committing suicide, etc., etc. Buddhist literature written by male authors regard the female as temptresses who try to lure the men away from the spiritual path. But in the Therigatha, we see how even the most elevated of Theris are forcibly hindered by men. In the sayings of Subhatheri, when a seducer stands in her way, she first tries to explain to him the difference between the Arya and the Putujana. Now, the Theri is an Arya. The man is a Putujana, right? A worldly person, but was not successful. Though she tried to explain to him the difference, he didn't understand. So she showed him by action. He kept pestering her, admiring her beautiful eyes. Now this is what he said, seeing your eyes, my sensual delight grows even all the more. The Theri answers, me pure, you of impure heart, me passionless, you of wild passion. I don't even know what that passion would be, for it's killed by the path. Now what did she do? Plucking out her lovely eye, with mind unattached, she felt no regret. And she gave it to him. Here, take this eye, it's yours. Now the man, you see, straight away, his passion faded right there. And he begged her forgiveness. And released from there, the nun went to the excellent Buddha's presence. When she saw the mark of his excellent merit, her eye became as it was before. Maybe she took the eye with her, and with the Buddha's psychic power, maybe it went back into the socket. I don't know what it is. I mean, it was just my imagination. Straight away, his passion, yes, faded. See, so that is what happened when these theories met the wrong person. It shows the women's success in overcoming the temptations of men and their attempts to divert the women who want a spiritual life. The freedom and liberation they talk about is the release from rebirth and death by eradicating lust and hate. To achieve this, they had to completely cut off the bonds, obligations, and duties forced upon them by culture and social structures, especially due to their femininity. In some Gathas, the domestic slavery and kitchen drudgery is highlighted. Now, Mutta is another Theri, says, I am released from the three crooked things, the mortar, the pestle, and my crooked husband. I am well released from birth and death. Everything that leads to renewed existence has been rooted out. These Arahant Theris give details of their previous life experiences, their learning process, and their feelings after attainment. It is interesting that in a patriarchal society, they speak with confidence and openly, maybe due to their achievement, without fear or interferences. It is a personal achievement gained through striving earnestly. In the Therigatha, female nature and womanly traits are viewed from within, that is from inside. You see, they see their own way, what actually a female is, right? They see for themselves. So that what are usually considered as flaws, as flaws means as wrongs or as bad things or habits or whatever, you see, flaws are not accepted or owned. They don't own those things. It is others who think of them as that. Soma Theri, when challenged by Mara, Mara, usually you find that these theories find that Mara comes and disturbs them. Yeah, so Mara is given as in 5 capacities. That is, Mara, for some, is the defilements that they already have. Then, if you want, I will give you the 5 Maras. Yes, Mara, that is, the first one is Klesha Mara. Klesha Mara is the one that is our own defilements. Then Skanda Mara. Skanda Mara is the aggregates, right? And then Abhisanskara Mara, that is our accumulations or preparations, right? We accumulate so many things. Then Devabhutta Mara, that means there is an idea that Mara is actually some kind of deity. Then there is Machumara. Machumara is death. So these are the 5 kinds of Mara that you find. Anyway, it is supposed to be Mara who says, challenges Soma Theri. Now she was already an Arahant, right? That place hard to gain, which is to be attained by the seers, cannot be attained by a woman with 2-finger intelligence. That is what she hears. Then Soma Theri says, what harm could a woman's state do to us when the mind is well concentrated, when knowledge exists? For someone rightly having insight into the doctrine. You see, she is able to take up the challenge and give it back to him. The two-fingered intelligence refers to a characteristic of, usually women when they are in the house, in household life, they check if the rice is properly boiled by crushing a boiled rice grain between the thumb and a finger. Now that is why Mara is able to say two-finger intelligence. By nature, women are more delicate, less rough, patient, and caring than the men. In the Metta Sutta, the Karaniya Metta Sutta, even the Buddha says, as a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so, towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. So you see, the Buddha takes not the father, but the mother as an example for metta, to spread metta to the whole world, like a mother would spread metta towards her child, her only child, like that, right? So the social relationships of care and shared experiences that existed in lay life. Now, in lay life, we have social relationships with others, friends, relatives, with a lot of people. So those experiences in lay life continue between the renunciates also, and also between the teachers and their students. Now Patachara, Kisa Gotami, Maha Pajapati Gotami, Uppalavanna, Kema, so many Theris were, Dhammadinna, so many Theris were great teachers. So those teachers had a number of pupils, So now they had sort of very big rapport between the teachers and the students also, not only between the renunciates themselves, right? So Rohini's Gatha, Rohini is another theory. Gatha is an example. Now this Gatha, she says, not after she became an Arahant, but even before. Those who have gone forth are from various families and various regions, and still they are friendly with each other. That is the reason why ascetics are so dear to me. She's telling her father. The importance of female charismatic teachers is seen in Chanda's Gatha. Chanda is another theory. Now, in the past, I was a poor widow without children, friends, or relatives. She was almost a beggar. I wandered for 7 years, tormented by cold and heat. Then I saw a nun receiving food and drink. Approaching her, I said, "Make me go forth to homelessness." Homelessness means become a monastic. She gave me advice and pointed me towards the highest goal. So that means she too became an Arahant. Here we see the compassion of Patachara. Now the teacher here is Patachara towards this beggarly woman, and her teaching that gave Chanda liberation. Ambapali, probably most of you have heard of Ambapali, the beautiful courtesan, after attaining arahantship, remembers her past life. and her much admired beauty that has now faded. Now, it's a long poem. I have taken just a few of those. Glossy and black as the down of the bee, my curls once clustered. They, with the waste of the ears, are like bark fibers of hemp. My eyes were shining like jewels, very black and long. Overwhelmed by old age, they do not look beautiful. My teeth, like the color of the bud of the plantain. Because of age, they are broken and yellow. So she thinks of her beauty then and now, now that age has taken over, how different everything is. Though she compares her youthful image with the time-worn, aged body she has now, there is no nostalgia for what is lost, but a recognition of the reality, that is impermanence, anicca, unsatisfactoriness, dukkha, and non-self, anatta. Ambapali's Gathas express how she intimately grasps the fact of impermanence, not through any doctrinal knowledge, but entirely by seeing the changes that took place in her own voice and body. Normally, for a human being, this would have caused viparinama dukkha, or suffering due to change. For every person is attached to one's body with great care and affection. But for Ambapali, it's the release from a shallow and hollow existence based only on physical intimacy. Now she has found freedom from her own body, which she calls is the home of pains, a house with its plaster all fallen off. Though the Gathas frequently take refuge in the three jewels, the Gathas means all the Theris, they take refuge in the three jewels. What are the three jewels? Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. That is not faith in the theistic sense of other, theistic religions, but an inward striving for personal liberation. Like them, we too must strive and go there. That was their intention. These women who became Arahants belong to all stratas in society, from the lowest to the highest. Mahapajapati, Yasodhara, all those, the Buddha's relatives, all of them were from the royal family. But you can see that there are beggarly ones also. You see widows and poor women who, who didn't have a home and so on. But when they become renunciates, they have equal opportunities to practice and hold many positions of authority or roles and office. You see? So there is so much of equality. That is why Buddha says, once you come into the sasana, there is no other taste other than the taste of Dhamma. Like all the rivers that bring water into the ocean, then it goes into the ocean, it becomes the salty taste, like that, right? So they were renunciates who had given up not only their relatives, but also all their wealth. Suba, the goldsmith's daughter, she was a very rich person, says, "So I forsook my world, my kinsfolk, all, my slaves, hirelings, and my villagers, and the rich fields and meadows spread around. Things fair and making for the joy of life. All these I left and sought the sisterhood, turning my back upon no mean estate." So you can see she herself says it was no mean estate. That means she gave up so much of her wealth. The world of the ordained women in the Therigatha is one of sexual equality, in contrast to the social inequalities between men and women in lay life. Even today, so many centuries later, for doing the same job, a woman is paid less than a man who is employed in the same capacity. It is important to remember that it is the Buddha's attitude that anyone who possesses the necessary mental and spiritual qualities, whether it's a woman or a man, can find deliverance in Nibbana. That is responsible. Now that idea of the Buddha is responsible for this equality, harmony, and peace within the community. Renunciation is not an end in itself, but practicing the Noble Eightfold Path diligently to gain liberation from the suffering in samsara is their goal. Once you get into robes, you become a monastic, that is their goal. Their efforts are directed towards disciplining their minds to gain higher insights through meditation. The state they gained transcends the one experienced in ordinary life. Having rooted out all lust, the craving which is the cause of rebirth too has been eradicated. So you see, they are not going to be reborn again. Now they are called Siti Bhuta in Pali. That means cool, calm, and serene. You see, all of them. So that they have nothing to quarrel about. You see. Finally, we have to admit that knowing about the lives of these great Arahant Theris has an exalting and elevating effect on us. But we may not be able to reach the same heights in this life. So, as householders, wives, sisters, aunts, grandmothers, or even friends, we should understand that we have a role to play in order to make our lives, as well as the lives of our associates, happier, more dignified, peaceful, and worthy. If we keep the 5 precepts, follow the Brahma Viharas. Now, Brahma Viharas are loving kindness, compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. You know, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekka in Pali. Other members in our family too would start practicing these qualities. And all their associates, you know, their friends, relatives, others also may follow. Talking of the Brahma Viharas, I like to remind you that if we practice metta only, the other 3 would naturally be ours. You see, Those who practice metta will find that they are kind and they want to help people, right? Practically. Metta is more a sort of subdued kind of thing where we, meditate on. But compassion is something that where we go out to help others. Then altruistic joy, that is also something to do with the mental quality. That is where we think of others' success, like our own success. We are very happy about it. That is altruistic joy. And when we practice all these naturally, it becomes, equality. See, so that is why the Brahma Viharas, equanimity is the last one. When you practice metta, naturally the other three would follow. Sometimes, when a wife's earnings is higher than the husband's, a feeling of jealousy may cause a happy marriage to suddenly flop, suddenly break down. Even among siblings, if one is not as well off as the others, a similar situation may arise. So that is why if in a family, you find that one sibling is not as well off as the others, it is the duty of the others to help that one, right? So, but if they have metta in them, they would be happy about the other's success. For the metta would lead to altruistic joy, a happier, kinder, unselfish, and generous lifestyle will make all of us better human beings. Thank you. So, I'm sorry that I can't see all of you, neither can I see myself. So, anyway, that's how it is today. I'm glad I was able to at least, give the talk today. So, do you have any questions? And also, I recommend that all of you read the Therigatha. I have a few copies that I could give to you, but that is if you come. But I think you can get it online. And also there is the Therigatha, that is how when the bhikkhus became Arahants, they came out with their verses. They are much more, even double the size of the Therigatha. A lot of bhikkhus have said, and even the Buddha's words are there. So that's how it is. Any questions? Or any comments or whatever?
It was very clear.
Okay,
useful.
thank you. Shall we do a little meditation then? So, please sit down in whatever position you like, a chair or a cushion or whatever way you like. And keep your body straight, the upper part of your body straight. Hands on your lap or on your knees. And the spine straight, with the neck and the head. Now take a few deep breaths. Right. Now I think we are all ready. So bring your focus to the top of your head and see whatever sensations you feel there. Even if it is the air that is moving in your hair, just see it. Don't make any analysis of it, but just see it as it is. We are trying to uh, uh, keep the body and the mind together. Now bring your focus or your mind to the sides of your head and see the sensations there. Now go to the back of your head. Now go to the forehead. And see what sensations you feel there. That will be different from the sensations when you looked at the head. Now go down to the closed eyes. Eyelids are closed lightly. Go inside and see the eyeballs inside your eyes. See. In your mind, you can see them. Go down to the cheeks now. Now go down to the lips. Your lips are slightly closed, not very tightly. And go inside and see the teeth, the tongue, how they are, the saliva that is in the mouth. Now go down to the neck. Perhaps you might feel the clothes covering your body. Go down to the chest. Can you see the rising and falling of the chest? with the in-breath rising, with the out-breath falling. You can feel the rising and falling. Go down to the belly. Again, you can feel the rising and the falling. Go back to your shoulders now and see how the arms are joined to the shoulders and they are bent at the elbows. Maybe the hands are touching each other. Feel the warmth of the hands. There is a little heaviness on the thighs if you are keeping the hands on the bent arms on your thighs. Now let's go back to the top of the spine, where the spine meets the skull. Now go down the spine, past the shoulders, down to the end of the spine. Feel the buttocks on the cushion or chair, the hardness of the cushion or the chair. Look at the thighs and the knees. The forelegs are bent at the knees and then crossed. If you are seated in a cross-legged position, then go back to the toes. Now you have gone through the whole body. It's a sitting body, sitting, sitting. See the sitting body. Now come back to the nose and we'll do a little bit of in-breathing and out-breathing. We won't have much time. Now, when you take the in-breath, think of it as rising because it expands the lungs, goes to the belly, it expands there and then comes out, then it contracts the belly as well as the lungs. So, in-breath, in, out, in, out, in, out, rising, falling, rising, falling, rising, falling. you will see that everything in life is a case of rising and falling. Whatever you engage in, there is a rise and a fall. Even if you take your pen in your hand, there is a rise and a fall. So in life, try to see this rising and falling. Okay, friends, we have come to the end of today's program. Is there anything that you would like to be done?